What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Tamashii Nations SH Monsterarts Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong. And so here we have the SH Monsterarts Kong posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Kong does come with two different head sculpts. We do get the neutral expression that he has on him right now. Then we do get a screaming expression. He also comes with several sets of hands. We get a pair of fists. We get a pair of relaxed grip hands. We get a pair of hands for him walking on his knuckles. Then we get a pair of grip hands. Finally, Kong does come with the axe that we saw in the movie, which has the Godzilla dorsal spine, which looks really nice. I am glad they included that. Other than that, Kong doesn't come with anything else, which I think he comes with just about enough that we need. I think a flight stand would have been nice, but that's neither here nor there. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually have a closer look at Kong. And so here we have a closer look at Kong, and I think Bandai has done a really good job with the sculpt of this figure. Now, this figure does have some issues that we do need to go over, but we'll talk about that later on. Right now we're just focusing on his detail, and what they have here is a finely detailed figure, which I am really blown away with the amount of detailing on this Kong. I think the one thing that he needs is some gray here on his face. That's probably the one thing he's missing. I think the prototype did show that he did have some gray in his fur, but overall they did a fantastic job sculpting this version of Kong, and I think it looks very, very good. I'm really surprised they didn't make a Kong Skull Island Kong before going into the Kong or Godzilla vs. Kong, but they captured the look of this figure really nicely. The sculpt on Kong here is superb. You can see he does have some scarring right here on his chest from where the Skull Crusher was scratching him all up, so that's really nice attention to detailing right there, and really consistent with the movies. Really do love his fur. It's a nice brown color with some black wash throughout it, so it just brings out all that really nice detailing, and it is superb. Once again, I think a little bit of gray throughout the fur would do a lot of really nice detailing, but overall what we have here is a phenomenally sculpted figure. You can see he even has his belly button sculpted on, which is accurate to the movie. One thing I do like is that they kept his chest bare of fur, and then his stomach here doesn't have any flesh looking or poking through, which is pretty accurate to the movie. Really do like the fact that he does come with several sets of hands. Right now I do have him with the fists, and those are balled up really nicely. Really liking the differences between the fur and his flesh tone. That's a really good job there by Bandai. This side is a little bit loose and it pops off frequently, but I think that's just mine. I don't know if I got it on all the way. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. I don't know. It's probably just mine that has that little issue, but it's not that big of a deal, to be quite honest. Really do like the detailing here. And as you can see, he is loaded with a lot of articulation, and that's probably one of my biggest gripes with this figure, is the amount of articulation he has. It's not that it's bad, it's just engineered strangely, and like I said, we'll get on to that in a little bit. And you can kind of see what I'm getting at here. Well, his foot isn't a single piece. We do have two pieces right here, but they did a really good job matching the tone from his pads right here. Really nice job with his feet here. And of course they do have to add the legal jargon right here, which can't be avoided. Every figure needs to have that. But like I said, the pads on his feet look really nice, and they even look really good on his hands. If I can just get one hand out here. This is of course his knuckle walking hand, which I think is phenomenal. Everything on this figure, detail-wise, is done very well. And like I said, this is a really good head sculpt for Kong. If anything, he has two really good head sculpts. That's one thing I can say about this figure, is that the detailing on him is superb. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually have a closer look at how he stacks up to other figures in your collection. And so here we have Kong posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Kong posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Kong posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. Here we have Kong posed next to a NECA King Kong. And finally, here we do have Kong posed next to the Godzilla from the Godzilla vs. Kong Monsterarts line. So as you can see, Kong really isn't that big of a figure, which that's one downside to this figure. I know SH Figuarts and Monsterarts normally scale down, but Kong here does seem a little bit small, especially compared to other toy lines that have kaijus, which that's a little bit of a shame. Now, we have to talk about his articulation, where I think it's both good and bad. Everywhere you see a cut on Kong here, it's a ball joint. There are no hinges, there are no swivels, everything on him is a ball joint. That is both a good thing and a bad thing. I can pop his head off right here and you can see he does have a double ball joint right here. It is kind of stiff on mine, but it does function normally. And again, that's not a problem. Double ball joints are probably the best way to have a head to articulate. But then we have another ball joint here at his neck, and it's kind of squeaky on mine, but I'd rather it be a little bit tight than loose. So we have a ball joint, double ball joint here, and probably a single ball joint in the neck. We have a ball joint here at the shoulder, so we get some really interesting articulation. It does slightly rotate in and out, does hinge up, can pivot up, can pivot down, pivots forward and back. Then we have a ball joint here at the bicep, which is kind of strange. It does pivot forward and back, does pivot side to side, does rotate, but it's kind of stiff on mine, but it is rotating. And his bicep is actually just a cap, which I'm going to get into that in a little bit. So the cap is just a floating piece, where his bicep is actually just a double ball joint going from the shoulder into his elbow. Then we have another ball joint here at his forearm, which you can see it does pivot side to side, pivots forward and back, and it's in that forward and back movement that we get somewhat of an elbow joint. It's not ideal, but it is something that they did include, so just got to be aware of that. Then we have a double ball joint here at the wrist, which that is the ideal position for a wrist because we get some really nice articulation going in and out. Although mine, because this hand is fairly loose, it does pop off quite a bit. So the arms aside, he has another ball joint here at the torso, and I want to see if I can't get that open up so you guys can see, but there is a ball joint right in there, and it looks like it's another double ball joint, where we have the double ball joint connecting his main torso to his abdomen. And I do say the main torso, we'll just leave his head off for now, because this part of his torso is just a floating piece. It's not really attached to anything, it's just floating there to seal up the gaps. And one problem is that once in a while it will get caught trying to go back, so you'll have like a deformed Kong here. So you do got to be careful about this piece and making sure it does go back in. Again, floating piece right here, main piece here, main piece here. His crotch is another floating piece because his crotch goes into a Y joint. We have a ball joint here at this point, and it articulates fairly well. I am happy about that, but it is kind of strange that he has nothing but ball joints. You can see he does get some really nice range going out to the side. And this is probably where I think this figure suffers the most, is in the legs. Now, we have a ball joint connecting his hips together, so his hips do move in and out fairly well. They move forward, they move back, so nothing at all wrong here, and that's probably the best joint to have for a gorilla. Now, his thigh is another floating piece, just like his bicep, and you can see it is fairly loose. If you have it positioned just right, it doesn't move around, but the moment you move something, this thigh does rotate on its own, and it's the same on both sides. And then I can actually pull this apart just so you can see. We have another double ball joint right here connecting his thigh to his knee, so that provides that hinging motion. Again, it's really strange that they would give Kong nothing but ball joints. We have a ball joint in the knee, which you can cover that up. And we have another ball joint connecting his knee to his ankle. yeah, we have another ball joint right here. Then we have a ball joint right here, and that does pivot forward and back, up and down, rotate. So everywhere you see a joint, it can rotate, and that is fairly strange, at least to me. It's not something I've seen on most figures. But yeah, it's not that it's a bad design, it's just that I kind of wish that he used traditional hinges and that he wasn't hollow in so many places. I think that's one problem I have with this particular version of this figure, is that he's very hollow. This part is hollow, his chest is hollow, his biceps are hollow, his forearms are hollow, his knees and his hip piece are hollow. You can actually see the actual joint right there. So yeah, a lot of strange decisions on making this Kong figure. We have double ball joint here, double ball joint here, double ball joint here, double ball joint in the torso, single ball joint here at the waist, a wide ball joint here at the waist. We have double ball joint from the thigh to the knee, double ball joint from the knee to the foot, and then we have another ball joint in the foot. So really strange in my honest opinion, but it's not a bad thing. He does pose really well, and he's only going to pop apart if you're really forceful with him, so that is really good. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Kong posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. So here we have the SH Monsterarts Kong pose for my final thoughts, and overall I really do like the way this figure came out, despite him having some issues with articulation and the fact that he is on ball joint on top of ball joint on top of ball joint. I really like the way he is designed. I think the way they articulated him does help him get into those really nice poses. We see that a lot with Revoltech, and it is something I wasn't expecting to see out of Bandai. Now, one issue I do have with the fact he's on ball joints is that the ball joints tend to get loose over time, and I don't know the longevity of this figure. I do have some solutions to tighten joints, but it's an issue that you do have to consider when getting this figure, because he doesn't have any traditional hinges, which is surprising. I would always expect a figure to have hinges over ball joints. I get that ball joints provide more movement, but I think hinges provide a little bit more stability, and Kong here, he really doesn't need the stability, but I really can't wrap my hand around the fact that those thigh pieces are just covering double ball joints. If it was a more solid piece, I think I would like that setup a little bit better. But as it stands, like I said, Kong here is no slouch of a figure, and I really do like the way he came out. If you are looking for Kong, at the time I'm making this video, he is still up for pre-order at sites like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, and Amazon. Now, if you're wondering how I got mine so early, I did pre-order mine from Hobby Link Japan the day the pre-orders went up, and they do get their shipment faster than most places here in America because they are stationed in Japan. So really happy that I was able to secure my copy of Kong and Godzilla from Hobby Link Japan, and the price was actually really good. I only paid about $55 for Kong here, which is pretty good considering I paid $20 for shipping. Essentially, I paid $75 for Kong here, which is what he's going for here in America from sites like Big Bad Toy Store. With shipping, he'll come out to about $80, which is fair. This Godzilla and Kong come with just enough that you can justify the purchase, but I think Kong here really outshines some aspects of Godzilla just because he does come with that axe and more accessories. If you are looking for this Kong, you can still pre-order him from sites like Big Bad Toy Store and Amazon. I believe he's available for sale right now on Hobby Link Japan. If he is, go ahead and get him from that site. If you can wait on it, definitely wait on it. I still think this is a really well done figure, and Bandai has done a really great job with Kong here. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other SH figure arts and SH Monster Art figures. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.